Welcome to Beneath the Shield. We have a special guest here today, Western State Conference South MVP, Deandre Dickson. Deandre, how's it going today?
Pretty good.
All right. That close overtime game with the LA Pierce. Talk about it being your last game and what could have been the difference maker, because you guys did beat them in the previous meeting during the preseason by double digits. What was it about this game that kind of went the other way around for you guys?
Well, they were completely different teams than the first time we've seen them. I think they went on to win their conference, and yeah, they seemed more hungry. I mean, they played like they wanted it.
Gotcha. Now, going back to the beginning of the season, where you almost kind of destroyed every single stat sheet there was in the first 3 games. You had that big 29-point game with, I think, another 14 rebounds to go along with it. Second game was a little bit lower, but you still had a double-double. And third game was just a phenomenal 37-point, 25-rebound game. What do you think early on allowed you to be so dominant? I mean, you are a freshman as well, for those of you that don't know. What do you think allowed you to get it going so early?
I don't know. I felt like I was kind of really eager to play. I think those were like the first couple games that I was playing in JUCO basketball. So I was really hungry. I wanted to let people know how I can play.
Gotcha. Now, going back to before JUCO basketball, talk about your journey to get here and where that has led to where you are today and how your game has evolved.
Well, I went to Washington High School, and I was strictly a post player back then. I couldn't shoot, couldn't dribble. Well, looking back, I'd say I was a pretty terrible player, but I think I still averaged double back then. But nearly nothing like the player that you guys see today. I wasn't that good, and then I went on. I didn't play after high school. Had like some injuries and stuff like that. And then when I started feeling better, I had a park that I live next to, and I went and just worked on my game. There was a lot of older guys who knew the game, and I just played with them. And the park, you could do whatever you want. So I would work on my handles, I'd shoot fadeaway jumpers, 3-point shots, just work on every part of the game that I felt was weak.
Now, how tall were you in high school from freshman year to senior year? And did you play all 4 years as well?
I didn't play my freshman year. I was a little timid back then. I think I was 5'11" or 6 foot in my freshman year, and then by my senior year I was 6'7".
6'7".
Yeah.
Now, was the growth that you went through, did that help you more with your game? Were you still kind of a little bit shaky early on to kind of evolve into your body?
Well, no, I was kind of clumsy growing into my body up until like my junior year. I was like a pretty mediocre player like my sophomore year, my first year, and then not till the end of my junior year where I got moved up to playoffs for the varsity team. I got a little feel for a little bit of playoff basketball and what it's going to be like the next level of varsity.
Gotcha.
And then my senior year where I really got better, I was dunking on people. I was shooting a tiny bit of mid-range, but I mean I was really kind of like dominating in the post.
Now we know Washington Union is a basketball school. You know, you had guys like Stevenson, who came from there as well. Straight out of high school, he went into the NBA. Was that a school that you kind of lived near in the district too, or was that a school that you just felt like basketball-wise that may be the next best thing for you?
No, I lived in the area. I'm more of a country boy. Right there, it's like all dairies and all kinds of stuff. There's not really much to do.
This is right outside of Fresno, right?
Yeah, right in Easton, California. There's not really much to do, so I just felt like basketball was something to do, and I just fell in love with it ever since.
Gotcha. Talk about what made you come here to Bakersfield College and what it has given you, and how long did it take for you to decide that you were going to come here?
I was actually playing basketball at a park, the same one that I told you I was working on my game, and someone came to the park, and he just seen me playing, and he knew a recruiter that was affiliated with Bakersfield or whatever that is, and then he just told me about Bakersfield and he was asking if I was interested in playing. And then at that time, I felt like I was ready to get back into it, so that's why I came.
Gotcha. Now talk about what do you think the team lacked as far as just as a unit, for you guys to not be able to take that next step. A lot of people said they don't have that third man. It's almost a two-man show. What do you think for you was the biggest reason that you guys couldn't go further? Because I mean, you guys beat that team, LA Pierce, and you weren't able to get past that.
I just feel like a lot of the times we get like a really slow start in the first half of basketball games. I think if we were to be able to consistently put two halves together, I think we would be a dangerous team.
Now, talk about you and Jameek. What do you think allows both of you guys to be better when both of you guys are on the floor? And just that duo, and knowing that he's coming back as well.
He's just a real good player to play with. He's, like the both of us, I feel like the both of us are willing to share the ball. Just the fact that we both know that we're going to be double team, triple team sometimes in games, and just being willing to make that extra pass to get other people buckets. I think that's what really helped us.
Okay. Now this off season, what are your plans for this off season?
I'm going to work.
Work.
Yeah, I want to put on some more weight. I want to work on every part of my game that feels weak, which is everything. I want to work on everything.
Do you feel like personally the goals that you've accomplished, winning, Western State Conference Player of the Year, you won a tournament MVP as well. For you, what stood out the most, and did you have those goals in mind?
I don't really look at personal accolades, stuff like that. I just want to win. And all that other stuff will come afterwards.
Gotta love that drive of yours. Any goals for your sophomore seasons, possibly last season
I want to
here?
win the state championship.
We have special guests here today. We have Greg Glamoc from France, and we have Austin Welch from Cherokee High School in North Carolina. And they'll be here today, and we'll talk hoops. Talk about your journey to get here and what separates where you guys are from in basketball.
Well, I come from North Carolina, a little reservation, the Cherokee Indian Reservation. And last time I was in school was 2010, and I ended up dropping out. And the long story short is, I just kept going. I didn't give up on my dream. And I was supposed to be out there last year, and so it just kind of fell in place. And I just been working on my game.
For you, Greg?
Well, for me, I come from France, from Paris. I mean, my family's coming from Serbia, so I just choose to come here because I know Paul from last year, and I feel like the American game is really way different than European.
Gotcha. Now, is it Serbia or is it France that, for you, kind of cultivates the game of basketball more? Because France, you have Tony Parker and you have Boris Diaw that come from France, but then you also have Serbia, where there's a lot of good players that come from there as well. What side do you think impacted basketball more to you?
Personally, I would say more Serbia because I know a lot about try to play smart. I mean, French play very smart too. But basketball is really about passing the ball a lot and taking good shots and stuff.
And when we talked early on, you talked about some of the differences. It was the shot clock. It was the physical nature of the game here. After your first season, do you feel like you've adjusted pretty well to it? Do you feel like you're more capable of playing with some of the guys now?
Definitely, it was like a real shock when I came here. Everything was new for me, so like the guys here are very athletic. The shot clock is different. The rules are very different. I was keeping traveling, and I feel like since January, I get used to American game, and I really changed my game, and I feel like much more comfortable with the game.
That's good. And for you, Austin, talk about basketball. Playing on the Cherokee, reserve. Was it tough? Was it competitive?
I mean, it was tough, but it wasn't like nowhere competitive. It's California.
Yeah.
It's competitive all throughout California. And North Carolina is, where I'm from, it's in the 1A division, so it's really small.
Yeah.
And it was always good. We just could never finish.
And Coach Hughes mentioned that it was a scout or some. It was
my coach.
Your coach,
David Solomon.
Okay. And did you feel like you were ready to adapt and move into outside of your comfort zone and come to California and play basketball here?
Well, I mean, I haven't played organized basketball since my sophomore year, so I mean, it was just a whole lot different. I never played on a team like this, everybody's good. You're playing against good players, so it's just basketball.
Exactly. What do you have set in mind for this offseason to get you better and more prepared for next season?
I feel like coming off of the game from Canyon, I've got a lot to prove, continuing to do it, consistency, whatever. And just for the summer, I'm going to work hard as I can, work my jump shot, dribbling, just attacking the basket better, smarter, just working on my all-around game.
And do you plan on going back home to visit for a little while?
No, I want to be here, get ready for next season.
Okay. And I'm sure if you went back and played with some of the guys that you played there, they definitely.
I'll probably be dunking on you.
And for you, Greg, do you think it'd be the same for you if you were to go back to France and kind of show your skills that you've learned here? Do you plan on going back to France
I plan
this summer?
to go back to France and go back to my family in Serbia.
Okay.
I feel like they're gonna see a difference because I'll be like much more aggressive, more athletic, of course, and I'm gonna work out over there for sure. Like mostly lifting to get stronger, and also my skills, of course.
Now talk about the team that you guys have set together. I think it's a good thing that you guys are freshmen because you guys kind of get that experience. And considering the fact that you guys didn't probably get as much playing time as you guys expected, it must have been good to be able to kind of get a look at the game from the outside and just kind of absorb everything. So now when you guys get your numbers called, you guys are going to be more prepared. So I think that must be a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
Knowing that you still have that another year to develop as well, right? Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for joining us. Greg, Austin, pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
Hey, can you